remember your first kiss? What were you thinking about while it was happening? Was it as magical as you always thought it would be? As a young 20-something, I was in love with the idea of love. One afternoon, while reading under a tree on a sunny autumn day, I began to wonder what my first kiss would be like. The wind played wistful music in the crunchy leaves that hung above my head. As the warm sun caressed my face, I closed my eyes and began to imagine. Suddenly, I opened my eyes with the feeling that I was being watched. Before me stood a tall and slender man with warm brown eyes and an amused smile on his lips. "Hello," he said in a deep and gentle voice. I returned the salutation and smiled nervously as he continued to speak. "Would you happen to know the way to the pond? I seem to be lost," he asked as he looked sheepishly down at his brown leather shoes. As I began to describe the way to the duck pond, he smiled at me, and as he did, his eyes glowed brighter than the afternoon sun. The handsome stranger began to walk in the direction I had told him to go. Suddenly, he turned and looked me in the eyes. "Would you like to go with me?" he asked. "Well, I suppose a little walk would be fine," I ventured. He held out his hand and pulled me firmly to my feet. As we walked, we talked. At first the conversation was quite casual, yet before we knew it, we had circled the pond twice. The hot orange sun turned the sky a deep red surrounded by purples, pinks, and yellow streaks as it slowly began its trek down to the horizon. I knew that I needed to go home, but I couldn't bear to part from this beautiful stranger. Before long, the giant blazing sun was nothing more than a thin line of light that blanketed the ground. As we prepared to part, I began to shiver from the cool breeze that had replaced the warmth we had basked in just moments earlier. The gentle stranger removed his coat and put it gently around my shoulders. As he did, he leaned towards me and closed his eyes. I fought the urge to turn and run. After all, I really didn't know the seemingly kind person who stood before me, offering what only a short while ago seemed like nothing more than a dream. I took a deep breath and closed my eyes. As my lips connected with his, he pulled me closer to him, and I felt dizzy with excitement. The world seemed to spin faster, and the heat I felt made the breeze a dim memory. I could smell the sweet scent of his cologne, and for just a minute, everything else faded into the background. As we pulled away, I blushed and smiled shyly. We exchanged numbers and began to walk away from each other. In the light of the moon, I once again saw the beautiful brightness of his dark brown eyes. I will never forget my first kiss and the sweet beauty of that tender moment.